Hello everyone! I am back today with another video, third time this week, and today we're going to be looking at the 8.1 banners available during the spending event, and just do a quick overview of every character and what they do, and maybe that will help you make a decision on who you want to pull for. But before I do that, I want to tell you a couple of things that I think are actually more important than even the guide part of the video, as well as what I mean by you should ultimately pull for whoever you want. By the way, I don't mean that for part 1. Part 1 is dead in a ditch. Like, forget about part 1. All that matters is part 2 characters. S ranks because we're not getting any A ranks anymore from what it looks like. Just a couple of things. Number 1, rolling for part 2 characters is easier and better than part 1, not because of the gacha, but because of the team building, and because team building in part 2, unlike part 1, isn't restricted by the element of the character. You don't have to mix physical with physical and elemental with elemental characters. It actually makes no difference. The only thing that matters when it comes to part 2 team building is astral ring correlation. If you learn how astral ring works and how characters work with each other depending on their astral ring type, you're going to have a much easier time playing the game in general, and I think it's actually going to help you with who you want to pull for next as well. Every part 2 character has usage somewhere, especially because every part 2 character has a DPS and a support role. Sure, like, I'm going to tell you some characters have higher value than others, but I can't say that a single part 2 S rank has low value. Like, I personally wouldn't say that, especially because some characters gain value over time, some lose value, some value stays the same, which is, I think, actually the best case scenario. But I would suggest looking at the weak spots on your account, because you can watch as many guides as you want, but ultimately every one of your accounts is different, and one character doesn't have the same value on every account. Like, it's genuinely different. So what I suggest doing is rolling for a character depending on multiple factors. Number 1, what weather do you struggle with? What type of character are you missing? Watch guides, see which character is good, which character has the best value, see what character you enjoy playing, whose character design you like, whose story you like, and then depending on all those things, make a decision on who you want to pull for. I wouldn't suggest pulling just because a guide told you to, because you might not like the character, and then you generally would have ended up spending a lot of pulls on a character you don't enjoy playing, and they might just sit around. Don't be disappointed, don't fret, like, don't be depressed because a character went away before you could get them. Characters in this game have reruns literally once every couple of weeks. It's really not that big of a deal. You'll get them sooner or later, and make sure to dictate your own player experience and don't play how someone else tells you to. That will genuinely burn you out very quick, and then it won't matter who you pulled for because you would have already quit the game. Take it one step at a time, one character at a time, and over time you'll end up building a very decent account that's gonna be able to do most of the content in the game. So yeah, this was for me genuinely the most important part of the video, and now let's get on with the main part, which is looking at what banners are coming to us in version 8.1 starting this Thursday on the 20th of February. Firstly, it's obviously Kiana's new battlesuit, Ba-dum Fiery Wishing Star. Kiana is a Stardust Fire character with the new Astral Ring that came out last patch, Law of Ascension. Look, she's a new character. As always, she's still in beta on global. How she's gonna perform, I don't know, because beta and release is actually different, and most characters actually end up being better in release rather than beta. But she is gonna be good for Stardust bosses, obviously, even though her optimal Stardust team will want Songchue. Keep that in mind. And she is a little bit restricted on supports because Law of Ascension characters optimally, and I mean optimally, want Heavenly Shift characters, which is these. Kiana has it herself. But her best supports, I think Songchue, Sparkle, Vita are going to be the best. I think her Human Ego is going to perform decently. I definitely don't think she's going to be bad. I think she's going to be okay. Mini Durandal, I actually don't know. I have never seen anyone test Mini Durandal so far as a support. I'll see it myself. Like, I am still doing a Kiana guide for Wednesday, so we'll see through testings how she's going to perform with Mini Durandal. Domain Resonance, every other character in the game has that, and the next question mark attribute, which means whenever the new Astral Ring comes out, she'll be able to support that. So pretty future-proof. To be honest, again, she is still in beta. I can't say concrete information, but she is a Chinese New Year Kiana battlesuit, so whoever's favorite child. So I do think that she's gonna have decent value, and I have a feeling that whenever this new Astral Ring comes out, she's gonna be the best support. But only time will tell. Anyway, I would recommend pulling for her because she's new, she's for Chinese New Year, she's a Kiana battlesuit, and I do think that she will be future-proof. So yeah, then so she'll be available, by the way, for 6 weeks, weeks 1 to 6, 1 to 6 of version 8.1. So you'll have a month and a half to pick her up. So no worries, you'll have time. Then the next new thing this patch is her Share of Human Ego's new Divine Key, Flawless Benediction Legacy. Will be available only during weeks 1 to 2. Keep that in mind. I don't know why, but her Divine Key will only be available for 2 weeks. Starting when the patch drops and then until the end of week 2. She's has access to Astral Ring now, Wheel of Destiny, supported by Harmonized Shadow Star. These characters, from what I've seen, her optimal team, Thelema and Vita, especially because for her best boss, which is Hephaestus, I think, he wants freeze. He wants to be frozen, and it looks like her Share of Human Ego won't have enough rhyme trauma on her own, so she probably will need Thelema to aid her in battle for her main boss. As a support, Harmonized Shadow Star, so we'll see how she's going to perform as a support for these characters, but I do think, still think that Thelema, Lantern are going to be better supports than her Share of Human Ego. Again, only time will tell, and the release will tell, but yeah. Heavenly Shift, she can support Kiana. We'll see how she performs for supporting Minnie Durandal. She's probably going to be able to. I doubt that she's not going to do it, but maybe she's not going to be optimal. Still, though, as a second choice, not bad. And then, just like Kiana has the next question mark attribute, so whenever the new Astral Ring comes out, she'll be able to support that as well. To be honest, right now, I would say it has very niche value. I don't want to call her Divine Key high value. Actually, her Share of Finality's Divine Key is kind of better. And also keep that in mind that new players might have a disadvantage because older players have gotten more copies of Elysia over time. So many older players have S2 or SSS or SS Elysia, sorry. So you might have a fully built Elysia, but if she's at S0, she's gonna perform worse than an S2. So yeah, pretty niche value. Gives 10 global attack for every character, if you want to roll for that. But yeah, pretty niche. For me, it's currently skippable. We'll see how it performs again. Like it's gonna have a rerun probably within 1 or 2 patches. So I'm most likely gonna skip it, because I do believe that for right now, it's pretty mid value. Not bad. Remember, no one is bad. Like, none of these characters are bad, except maybe Healy, I don't know. But none of these S ranks are bad. Some just have high value, some have medium value, but none of them are bad. If you like Elysia, I fully support you. Literally go all in. Remember, it's your account. Do whatever makes you happy. That's what's important. Then her Share of Finality's Divine Key will be having a rerun during weeks 5 to 6 of the patch. During the spending event still should be after March 21st. Her Divine Key available for 2 weeks, weeks 5 to 6. She's Rite of Oblivion. To be honest, as a DPS, only really used with the Part 1 trio, so if you don't have her Share of Truth and her Share of Origin, her DPS role is basically non-existent, but as a support, she actually performs pretty decently, I'm not gonna lie. She is still Vita's only optimal support. For whatever reason, Vita isn't getting any new supports, but yeah, if you want to reach Vita's maximum output damage potential, you will want her Share of Finality's Divine Key. If you don't have her, she's not obtainable from anywhere, unfortunately. She was available during the last spending event, but right now, I don't think you can get her from anywhere. Maybe there's going to be bundles for the Chinese New Year that you might be able to purchase, but I'm not sure. So yeah, she's an older character. She hasn't had a normal banner in a long time, so unfortunately you can't get her. You can get her Divine Key, but yeah, if you don't have her, I'm sorry, but there's not much we can do. And then Domain Resonance, she's actually pretty decent. When I was testing her in the beta, she was not that usable. But then on release, she's actually a very decent support for Sparkle, Shixel's Imperative, and Senadina. Um, Here they are. They're all World Star characters, and her short finality is actually very good at supporting them. And since she's Domain Resonance, if you don't have like Thelema or Sparkle and stuff, you actually can use her as a support temporarily until you can get someone that's more optimal. But actually, her value has gotten better. It's just that as a DPS, you need the part 1 trio, and if you don't have her, you can't obtain her from anywhere, so genuinely not much we can do here. But between these two, I would personally take her Divine Key. Right now, like right now. I don't know what's gonna happen when the new Astral Ring comes out, because remember, she can support that. But right now, I would personally prioritize her Divine Key, or maybe just not get any of them, to be honest. Then, from the single banners, the last but not least is Vita's banner, who will be available weeks 3 to 4 of version 8.1, March 7th to March 21st. Vita, still the most universal part 2 character. Rite of Oblivion, her as a DPS, her optimal team, Coralie and her short finality. That's it. Unfortunately, again, she's not getting any supports for whatever reason. Currently, still, even it's been how many, almost 6 months since she's come out. Her optimal team still has only these 2 characters, and no one else can optimally support her. But if you do invest in her supports, you'll actually see great return, because not is she only a good DPS, but she's also a good brute force character, which means she can do bosses that are not her own because of her high damage ceiling. Mine is S0, Synergy 1 weapon, and she breaks everything in the game. If it wasn't for Vita, I would probably have quit the game at this point, but she's so good and she's so universal that if you're willing to invest in her best DPS team, you will actually see great return. And on top of that, she's still the only part 2 character to have 4 Astral Ring support attributes. She can literally be used in any team. I'm gonna be honest, she has some optimal teams. I think for Kiana, she's going to be optimal. She's optimal for her share of human ego when you use her as a DPS. She's second optimal for Mini Durandal, but even in, let's say, in teams where she isn't the optimal support, she is so good. You can use her and you won't get any diminishing returns. She's genuinely still, for me, the most valuable character to spend your pulls on. Good lightning DPS, can brute force even non-lightning weathers, can brute force even bosses that are the same type as her, so she doesn't even have an advantage. She just brute forces them, literally used as a support for every team. I don't know what to tell you. At this point, I would recommend, if you don't have Vita, she is still a very valid pickup, and I personally recommend that she's gonna be, or personally predict she's gonna be meta for, I think, another year. My personal prediction, another year. And then, last but not least for the banners is the Select Carnival banner, a special anniversary. For the anniversary, where Songchue, Lantern, Thelema, and Shixel's Imperative will be available on a rotation banner for days. Their banner starts the Monday after the patch begins, so not day 1 of the patch, day 4 of the patch. I think February 24th until the end of week 4, which is March 21st. So their banners will be around for a little more than 3 weeks. Okay, so I'm recording this after I filmed the video, but I just want to say before this part is that I glazed Thelema very hard as always because she is really good, but I wanted to mention that there is a possibility that 8.2 will be a Ice S rank, because the last 5 patches have been Lightning, Lightning Fire, Physical Fire, so I think we are due for another Ice S rank. If you're like me and you're waiting for a new Ice character, I suggest you wait until the 8.2 beta starts on Chinese servers, because I have a feeling that it might be a new Ice S rank. They will rotate once every couple of days. They won't be available at once. They will rotate once every couple of days. We have firstly Songchue, then Lantern, then Thelema, then Shixel's Imperative. You'll get 20 free pulls for this Carnival banner. They expire when the banner ends, so keep that in mind. The pity carries over from character to character, but the pity does not carry over when the banner ends. If you're willing to invest on this banner, you have to plan ahead because you need to have enough pulls to actually get the character. If you end up not getting the character before the banner ends, all the pulls that you spent will literally go to waste. Like, just that's it. Literally all of them are different, and I love that because you have a wide variety of who you can choose. Stardust Physical, Lightning Quantum, Fire Psychic, Ice Mechanical. I'm not gonna talk about it very long, just Songchue. Good for Stardust bosses. We'll be able to support Kiana when fighting Stardust bosses. As a support, for Harmonized Shadow Star, pretty mid, like Senadina, Thelema, Lantern are much better. For Heavenly Shift, she's really, really good. Basically, Mini Durandal's optimal support from my testing, and she's going to be also really good with Kiana, even for non-Stardust bosses. So, as a DPS, mid value. As a support, actually pretty decent value. Then Thelema, who's, I would put it like this. Thelema and Songchue, high value. Lantern and Shixel's Imperative, medium value. Again, none of them are low value, but I would say medium value, high value, high value. Thelema, she's still so insane. Literally, her value hasn't decreased at all. As a DPS, just amazing at type counter bosses and ice bosses. And not only that, but she's going to be the optimal support for Herrscher of Human Ego. So yes, Herrscher of Human Ego is an ice DPS, but she's actually going to want another ice DPS in the team, which is Thelema. Freezes the enemies, has time stop, not only during her ultimate, but after her ultimate ends, she has more time stop for like another couple of seconds. Freezes the enemies, can group enemies, aerial combat, ground combat. She's really good. Literally just like Vita, can, in those teams where she fits very well and can always be used as a primary or secondary support in every team that she can support. These two, I'm seeing medium value because like all three of them, for example, all three of these characters have the same supportive attributes. All of them have Harmonized Shadow Star and Domain Resonance, so they can support basically the same teams. The best support out of these three, I would say her, Thelema, and then these two are after Thelema, very close in value, but just a little bit behind. She's a support for Part 1 Lightning teams, if that matters to you, and she's a quantum character, which means she can deal with quantum bosses, but here is my advice. If you want to invest in a quantum character, I'd rather you invest in Sparkle, I'm going to be honest. Sparkle just had a rerun, so she's not having a rerun during the spending event, but she actually might have a rerun weeks 6 to 9 of... or weeks 7 to 9, sorry, of version 8.1. I don't know, but she's gonna have another rerun like within 2 months probably. If you're willing to invest in a quantum character, I would really recommend Sparkle. In terms of quantum bosses, they appear like once a patch, so it's not that big of a deal, but Sparkle is one of the two best supports with Songchue for this new Astral Ring. She's actually very, very valuable for Mini Durandal and Kiana, and she increases their damage by a decent amount, so I'd rather you pick up Sparkle over Shixel's Imperative. Remember, you can still pick her up if you really like her, it's not that big of a deal. And then Lantern, to be honest, she's still the best for dealing with fire weathers. Sparkle doesn't really deal with fire weathers. We'll see how Kiana performs, but she is the best for dealing with fire weathers. In terms of support, medium value, just like Shixel's Imperative. Thelema is still better, but Lantern is still very usable. TLDR, you want to get any of these four characters, get either Songchue or Thelema, and if you have the two of them and you want to pick someone up, one of these two, even though if you don't have Sparkle, I'd rather you save for Sparkle, or potentially if you're willing to invest more heavily in Law of Ascension teams, so both Mini Durandal and Kiana, as well as any future Law of Ascension characters, you can consider getting the new AstralOp Theresa, which allows Law of Ascension characters to be able to cast a Stellar Shift twice, which genuinely does increase their damage per rotation, as well as actually giving Rain Solaris or Mini Durandal the crit rate that she was missing beforehand. So this, even though it's not a necessity, I actually see it as a pretty good investment for Law of Ascension teams. That was it. I'm sorry that this isn't like a normal guide, but I am on a time crunch. Like literally only the beta started only a week before the new patch came out, and now I also need to record a Kiana and Herrscher of Human Ego Divine Key guide for probably Wednesday, because that's it. After that, the patch comes out and the beta is gonna end. I hope this video helps you out. I guess TLDR, I would recommend pulling Kiana, Vita, Songchue, Thelema. my recommendation is any of those 4 characters. As always, make sure to remember it's just a game. Even if you miss out on a character, don't worry, you can get them again within literally a couple of weeks. There's no need to fret, no need to be sad or disappointed. Even if you don't get them in time, it's okay, you'll get them next time. Just as again, I have to mention, remember that the Carnival banner, the pity does not carry over once the banner ends. So after March 21st, when the rotation supply ends, if you don't get the character, your pity will go to waste. So make sure that if you pull on the banner, you have enough to actually get the character. And the 20 free pulls also expire once the patch ends, or once the banner ends, I think. So make sure to use those on any character. Anyway, again, I hope this helps you out. I know the video is really long. I'm sorry, but I just have to mention everything there is to mention. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment if it helped you out. It really means a lot. It helps me out a lot as a creator. I love all of you very much. And I will see you, I think, on Wednesday with the Kiana and Her Human Ego Guide. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!